If you're hiring producers and service reps, like they need to have modules that they tap into to learn. It's too hard if it's just you as the agency owner or office manager. You need to have proper training. You need to have things like Weaver Academy, because now you're pulling all that time that they could be spending selling and managing the staff in the office to get on to do remote teaching. So why not just have modules that you trust that will teach that?
Courtney and I sit down with Jeff Sophiea of Ideal Traits, and we're going to dive into what your next hire is looking for out of you, what the next A player that you are going to hire is looking for. What's your employee value proposition? What benefits are you offering? What's your pay? What are people looking for from a flexibility, remote standpoint? And how can you make sure that you have the measures in place to build that winning culture and use individuals to help you find that next A player? With that being said, let's start the show. Hey, welcome to the Insurance Buzz. We are your hosts, Michael and Courtney Weaver, and I'm so excited about our guest today, Jeff Sophiea with Ideal Traits. Jeff, welcome, brother.
Dude, Weaver, thanks for having me. Courtney, thanks for having me on, and thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. I don't think that's ever happened before.
There we go. There's a first for everything.
Oh my gosh. And it's like the coolest last name ever. It's like Jeff Sophiea.
It sounds like it should be like on a football or baseball stadium, like
Yeah.
Sophia Field, That sounds pretty sweet.
I'd like to bring to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Take
Yeah, I was
SoFi Stadium
athletic,
down.
right?
Yeah. So good. I want to talk about money. Can we start with compensation and paying people and benefits? Can we go there?
For sure. Let's do it.
Okay. So I know this is a broad question of what do we pay people. So I'm going to come back to that. But first, when we were in Michigan, you had a slide on one of your PowerPoints, and you were talking about all of the different benefits that insurance agents can offer that look different than how we necessarily associate benefits in the employment space. Can we start there with how we make our offer for new hires more competitive?
For sure. First off, I do want to say you guys are like the power couple, okay? You might have gotten this before, but for everyone listening, I've seen Weaver's podcast a lot. I've seen Courtney and all these Facebook videos and whatnot. And then I saw them in real life for the first time. And I'm like, whoa, like they're not fake, right? They're real. They're more attractive than in the videos. So that was awesome seeing you guys here in my hometown in Michigan. It was for a farmers district meeting. So, and it's just so exciting seeing you guys on today. So I'm pumped up. Appreciate you guys having me. Courtney, that question, right? I break it down as everyone has their own employee value proposition. So big, large companies use this in order to attract good talent and keep good talent. And oftentimes, right, as an agency owner, it doesn't matter how small you are, you have your own employee value proposition. It does, compensation does have to make up the employee value proposition, but it really has to do with the set of benefits and perks that the agency would offer in exchange for the skills, capabilities, and performance that candidate would bring to the table. So you actually just brought this up to me a little bit ago before we went live, and there's sometimes a disconnect there where an agency owner wants someone really good, right? A quality candidate in a really tough job market. Yet, either they, can't offer what the candidate deserves probably, or they do offer it, Courtney, and there's nothing on the job ad or nothing that they talk about in the interview to persuade the person to come work for them. So think about when you guys, had your agency running, your best years, you had a really good employee value proposition. And so what I tell my agents is have a poster behind if you're doing the interview on Zoom, have it listed like literally behind you so they bring it up, or in the office, because every good agency has a good insurance sales proposal, right? It's not all about how great the insurance rate is. It has to do with maybe customer service, not calling into an 800 number, great convenient location. Weaver and you could tell me so much about what makes up a good insurance quote proposition, but how about the employee proposition? What can we offer instead of just the pay? Of course, the pay is probably arguably the most important, but what else, right? So great location, flexible hours, right? Parental leave. I know I showed that chart at the Michigan district meeting, and it highlights a lot of these things. And if we can just be more open-minded and just really take in and step inside the shoes of a candidate, I do think we'd be better off with our recruiting.
So off the top of your head, what are you seeing that a lot of the ideal clients or ideal employees, ideal team members,
I like that.
all right, A players, what are you seeing from a benefits package that they're really wanting, expecting? Is it remote work? Is it flexibility? Is it higher base pay with lower commission? Is it all over the board maybe? Like, I don't know. You tell me, Jeff.
Yeah, you got it. So 63% of candidates want either remote full-time or remote flexibility.
Did you say 63%?
63. But that's either fully remote or they want to have a hybrid, where in that hybrid could just be going in once or twice a week.
Wow.
And that's a big percentage, right? So now there is still, of course, quite a few people that have family at home, the kids running around or the pets, right? They want to get out. Like, bring me to the office. That's how I grind. And I was like that too starting out. And then we switched to remote, and you get used to remote. Then you tell your friends and they want to do remote, right? So the more you adapt to the remote or at least hybrid, right? And I got a lot of suggestions for that. I don't know if we have all the time to go over it, but that is definitely one big reason why quality people would want to work for you. But then in terms of the package, it's got to be, a draw plan. Top earners get paid a higher percentage, and that percentage keeps going up. They get bonuses, right? And it's almost like that agent is like, oh, I'm giving away a huge check here. Like, that's how it's got to feel. But at the same time, they're pumped up because they know as long as they have a decent retention rate, and if they have a good bonus plan with Farmers or State Farm or whatever company you're with, you're making good, really good money off that.
Well, and that's the thing about insurance is because I know there's a lot of conversation and talk around right now, like making your team be profit centers.
Yeah.
I am of the mindset that we were okay with losing money over a 12 to 18 month period on a really good producer, because if you're writing good business, your retention rate is good. Sure, you may be out of pocket or out of money in the negative over the first 12 months for that first fire renewal, maybe, or maybe first 2 renewals on auto, but then all of a sudden it renews a third time. It renews a fourth time. It renews a fifth time. And it's like more money in the bank. And so I think insurance is one of those businesses that is extremely unique, that you do have the ability to lose a little bit of money on the front end with a good person, because you're going to make it back tenfold on the back end.
Yeah, but there's a disclaimer there. There's an asterisk because you said this on good business. Now, if you're transactional and you're writing single line, which we know is going to fall off usually within the first 12 months, then this is a different game. So you have to look at what kind of business you're writing to be able to pay your people in a way that you're making that up on the back end. Because if your retention is so high that people are falling off after 12 or 18 months, you're not going to make that back on renewals. So you're just continuously digging a hole for yourself. So I love that you say that, but I want to make sure that the listener is not missing the fact that we're willing to go in debt for a little bit on the bet that our retention is high enough, our business is great, and we're multi-lining these customers.
For sure. Hey, if you weren't multi-lining in our office, you didn't have a job. So come on now.
We literally had a saying that multi-line business is not our business. Like, we did not write it, and we wrote 100, 300. Like, that was it.
Yep.
Like, we wanted to set that standard because of this. Like, we wanted to be able to pay our people, and we knew if we were going to make it up on the back end and be profitable, we had to write business that would stick. So let's get into the remote. I want to talk about that. And I would love to know your perspective on where you see the insurance industry and what it's going to look like in the next few years with this remote work.
Love to. And I feel like this is like a political debate. Now I want to go back to what you guys were talking about because I'm so passionate about it. And then I'll go back, okay? So
yeah.
Weaver, you brought up a good point there. And what was that last point that you mentioned?
So more than likely the fact that it's okay to go negative in the hole on good business and good producers because it's a residual based business. So when it renews, you're going to make money. You're going to be in the profit. Then all of a sudden it's going to renew again. And you're definitely going to be, and it's just money after money after money if it's the right producer with the right business.
And so it's the mindset, right? I mean, it's almost like investing 101, I feel like, because it's the delayed gratification, right? And the mindset, how do you visualize that? So with my agents, I'm lucky enough to be able to build these strong relationships over the years, just like you guys have been in this line of work. I've been in it for 9 years. And the top agencies out there that I talk to, I'm not saying they had the mindset right from the get-go, but someone showed them, other agents showed them how to get to this level. And to get to that level where you can go on more vacations with your families, you're hitting your profits, your profit margins or bonuses, you got to bring on quality staff. You always got to be looking. And so we actually came out with a staffing calculator, an ROI staffing calculator, just for our agents, even if they don't want to sign up for Ideal Traits, right? Let's just say they're like what you said, Weaver. I look at hiring a new employee as a cost versus a profit center. And that is probably because their past experiences, right? It costs them money for whatever reason, or they've seen the bad things that happen to other agencies, right? But if we can get past that and just see numbers wise, I mean, even if you make or lose a little bit of money in that first year, you're going to make exponential over the years, right? And so I'll make sure to send that to you so you can send it out to all your viewers, because I just think that's so important. The mindset change in that. Now, the remote work, right? What I would say, Courtney, is if no one's tried it yet, because some agencies are still like not there yet. And I get it, right? It's different. It's challenging. You know, you feel like when you come into work, you're doing work, right? And if you don't have all your systems in place, well, that employee is out there on your payroll, and they're not working. What the heck, right? And I can't see them. I get it. What I would just throw around is a 90-day probation period. So you start out, if they want remote, you say, I might be able to work with you on that, okay? If it's a quality candidate. You have them come in and you explain to them. You say, it's going to be better for you to work in our agency for the first 90 days. That way you're trained properly, right? You can learn the systems, you're hands-on, you can listen to the conversations, right? And it might even be you flying them in for a couple weeks if you can't do 90 days, right? But if someone that's local, bring them in for 90 days, and then once they hit that 90-day mark, see how it goes with them working full-time remote. I've had agents that are absolutely shocked, and now that producer is performing at a higher level. Why? Because you put trust in them, you showed them the ropes, and some people are able to manage it, believe it or not. I'm not saying everyone, but some people are able to work from home, and they prefer it.
Yeah, I personally love remote work. I mean, at Weaver Sales Academy, we're 100% remote. Now, I'm not 100% remote. And
except for us, because we're basically conjoined twins. Like, we're the same person. Like, it's just, like, that's what we're doing.
And there is a learning curve. Like, there's a leadership learning curve. There's a management learning curve. There's a culture learning curve. Like, that's the hardest part, I think, is building a culture in a remote environment, because you can have management set up. You can have accountability set up. But establishing that culture has by far been our biggest hurdle. But on the flip side, you can find amazing talent, like the talent level that you have the ability to hire in a remote environment.
Yeah,
has been incredible to me.
And how long did it take you guys to get there? Were you guys always like that, or did you guys transition into that?
Weaver Sales Academy started as more of a flex position, where we did have people that were in office. But that was in 2018. And then it was really when COVID hit, we were set up as an organization for being fully remote, because everything's on demand. I mean, it's a school for insurance agents, so you can do it from anywhere. But ever since then, so it's been 4 years that we've been fully remote. And to Michael's point, it's been the culture. I mean, he's meeting with our sales team every single day, just like we're having normal huddles, just like we would in person, only we're factoring in that we're all over the globe. Like we have people that are in Asia, we have people that are in South America. I mean, like they're everywhere.
Yeah, and our leadership team, we meet with them every week. Like it's, you run it just like a normal business.
Yeah.
It's just in a remote environment.
And so you guys are doing daily or weekly huddles with the whole team?
So we do, yeah. So I have daily huddles with the sales team every single day. We have our leadership meeting once a week, and then we typically will have a team meeting, a full team meeting, once a week to every other week.
Yep.
But our COO, she meets with everybody on the team at least once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, what I'm getting at too is like what Courtney's question was, is like, what are you seeing with remote? There's a blueprint to being successful in having remote employees, and you do have to have some processes in place, right? You probably have to change up your handbook a little bit, and you need to have proper training. You need to have things like Weaver Academy, especially if you're hiring producers and service reps. Like they need to have modules that they tap into to learn. It's too hard if it's just you as the agency owner or office manager, because now you're pulling all that time that they could be spending selling and managing the staff in the office to get on to do remote teaching. So why not just have modules that you trust that will teach that? And then of course, one more thing is, having a system, Ring Central, whatever, to actually be able to record the calls, track the numbers. I see some agencies still don't have something like that. That would be a challenging part to not do remote, but I would say 95% of agencies have something like that now, right?
Yeah, you have to have a CRM. And our sales team, like every call they make is on Zoom, so it's recorded. So we have
So
the
is our
checks and
service
balances
team.
there. Service is on Zoom, so it's checks and balances.
Nice.
Like we can go in, we can look at recorded calls, and it's again, it's different. But in the world we live in, I firmly believe that you're either adapting, you're getting used to change, you're willing to try new things, and I believe that this 63% will be 70+% in the next 2 to 3 years, 75% in 5, 80% in a decade. Like when you think about the generations that we're hiring from millennials to now Gen Zs, think about how they are being raised and what their expectations are going to be coming into a work environment. And if you decide that you're still going to be, we only do in person, you're going to really limit yourself to the ability to grow your business, because the number one way to grow your business is through great people. I firmly stand by that. Like no one gets to the top alone. And so the only way you're going to surround yourself with the absolute best, in my opinion, now again, this could be like a political debate, but if
Right.
you do have the ability to have a team that is remote or flexible, because that's what the best people are going to be looking for.
So true.
And you do have to have Weaver Sales Academy too to help you train. 100% in person, remote, doesn't matter.
So this is a good segue because again, I'm going to reference this training and talk that you did in Michigan. You were talking about what A players are looking for. I would love to briefly, like when you're going through this recruiting process and you're finding these top candidates, what's the thing that they're like, I need this? Like if you don't have this as an agency owner, you're automatically pushed to the back of the line.
And Courtney, when you're asking having this, like having something at the agency.
So like a lot of times maybe it's training, or maybe it's a 401k, or maybe it's vacation time. Like what are their top requests that they're coming in and they're like, this, like an A player wants this in
For
their
sure.
position.
So a couple things, right? I'm looking at this chart again, and in this chart that Courtney and Michael will send to all the viewers, it does really it shows what candidates are looking for in this market, because it was a survey that was conducted by an insurance research team at the end of last year, and they interviewed over 2,000 current producers, so whether they have PNC or life and health, and they asked them what was the top thing that their agency offered them or that they wanted them to offer. And the first one is flexible hours, the second one is community involvement, the third one is parental leave. I was a little shocked by seeing that, but again, we're always learning, right? What do they want to see? Now, what we see too on our end, top A players. Any A player is always wanting to get better. I think we can all agree to that. Mm-hmm. They're not like, okay, well, here's I'm going to come in and I'm just going to sell this much and I'm good. Mm-hmm. How do you get better? Through training. So I would say training, having a mentorship program. I've been telling my agents to implement that. on their job ad goes a long way. And a lot of people, when they ask them, hey, why'd you apply? If it was a quality candidate, they say, listen, like, I'm at a career where I was working for a company and I'm kind of stagnant and they don't offer a lot of leadership and I can't really work my way up. I want a way where I can grow, right? Personally and professionally. And what better way than have a blueprint for success and a mentorship program? Now, if you're talking to farmers agents, they have a protege program. That's awesome. I'm sure, State Farm still has like an agent aspirant program. But like, you can have your own program. If you're an independent agency or even a farmer's agent, like you can call it whatever you want. The Weaver apprenticeship program. And then the candidate asks, what's that? Oh, well, let me tell you, I have two employees in that program. Here's what it does, X, Y, Z. So that we're seeing draws a lot of people to apply for sure when we talk about A players. And then here's a stat I read, and I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm actually going to go back to it because it's something that really sticks out to me as I'm talking to agents that are, the demographic is different, right? Because I talk to agents that are 22 now, but then I talk to agents that are 82, right? I mean, it's all over the board. So the biggest stat I saw when I was looking at this is 65% of millennials value company culture compared to 52% of people 45 and older. And then 93% of job seekers would like to be informed about the company's culture, values, and missions and plans before accepting a job offer. So we went over compensation. We went over career opportunity with the mentorship program. And if we talk about culture, those two stats there should tell everyone culture is not going away. It's just getting more and more important. And I'm sure you guys I see what you guys post. It's a fun environment. Maybe we can just use some examples of what you guys have done to just have a better culture so our viewers can hear it.
Before we get into that, though, I want to talk about the mentorship program because right now those programs you're talking about are fantastic. But even if you want to take that to what I believe is the next level, let's run a mentorship program for your own agency to where, hey, I'm going to expand and you can run this agency. I'm going to expand and you can run this agency because it's the whole buy back your time. And there are a lot of individuals that are better number twos than they are number ones. All right. Not everyone is meant out to be an agency owner. They still need that help. They still need that leadership. They still need that guidance. They still need the processes and systems already done for them. And so if I'm an agency owner looking to really scale my business, because it's ultimately like a pyramid. Right now it's, well, we get them mentored, we pass them off. Well, how about we are like, hey, you have the ability to grow under our organization and run this agency, run this department, run this location. And so I think when I think of mentorship programs or apprentice programs, if I'm in that seat today, that's what I'm looking at, is looking at creating my own center, my own apprentice center, my own mentorship center.
I want to take culture because I think one of the best things that we did when we were in agency, and we still do this today, is we were getting a lot of calls from local communities. My kid needs a sponsor for this baseball team. And we would get those calls all the time. Would you like to donate here? Would you like to donate here? And I hated turning people down. And so what we did was we figured out what is our marketing budget, and we sat with our entire team and we said, okay, we have X amount this month. You guys get to decide what we donate to. You guys get to pick it. So our team would field these calls. And if they had something that they were super passionate about, maybe it was, a local pet shelter, or maybe it was something else, they got to pick. So our team members were now involved in, okay, what are we spending our money on? So it's not just, we're turning people down because we don't want to. It was, this person in our office is really passionate about this one thing. So they're going to get the marketing budget this month, and that's what we're going to focus on. So that was probably like our biggest shift, is letting our team decide where are, a certain portion of our marketing budget that we would spend on community involvement, where's it going? And then they're so excited to talk about it, to share about it, to post about it. We're all in this together. So it's not just Courtney and Michael are the leaders and we're deciding. It's as a team, what are we excited about? So that was probably the biggest shift, because I know agency owners are feeling this, where they think that, the average everyday consumer thinks that it's the big carrier that's supplying a lot of these marketing dollars. And it's not. It's small business owners. So that was a huge culture shift for us, from an easy thing that you could do tomorrow is just sit down and figure out how much money do I want to let the team decide what we get involved in.
And we'd go donate like our time to pick up or like to schools. And from a fun standpoint, so that's community involvement. From a fun standpoint, every single month we would typically take our team out. We had quarterly meetings every single quarter where we'd shut down the office for 2 days. One day was planning, one day was fun. At the very end, we would do end of the year planning, and we would go to escape rooms, we'd go to Top Golf, and so it's about also building relationships outside of the business on the personal standpoint. It just can't be all about business. And so not only would we be heavily devoted to our community and charities and donating both money and time, but it's also on the flip side, we're also having a lot of fun doing what we're doing. Even like a beer Friday, like let's shut down the office half day, have a beer, go home, celebrate. Like you got to incorporate fun into what we do, and it's got to be personal just as much, if not more than professional.
Or having bourbon, not just a beer.
Bourbon, definitely.
Not just, yeah.
Brown water.
Brown water, yeah. One of my favorite things that we did was we did an NFL pick'em. And so we went to our local pizza shop and we had him match us halfway. So we would donate half of the pizza, he would donate the other half. So we kind of went in on this together. So they were our sponsor, and we would go around to every local business every single week, and I would print out what the football schedule was. And every business had to bet. And whoever got the most right, and it even came down to like points. We had tiebreakers. It was a whole thing. So we would spend one whole day going around, dropping all of these things off, picking all of it up. And then there would be a winner that we would deliver the pizza to with a football, and we'd take a picture and do the whole thing. That was the most fun thing, because we would have local businesses calling us and going, hey, I didn't get my sheet. So our
awesome
agents,
is that? Like, what a good problem to have.
Yeah. So they're like, they're thinking about us all the time for, I mean, how long is football season? Months. That's all they're thinking about.
Year. Yeah.
Yes. It's like,
and we love it.
Oh,
community barbecue. We did a barbecue every year.
I think it doesn't have to be big too. I think a lot of times what we get hung up on with culture is that we need to make it this big celebration, and it's a daily thing. If you can think about any time that you can make something a BFD, a sale, a pivot, somebody does something amazing in the office, if you can celebrate that and get that dopamine hit, like that's what you constantly have to be nurturing. And if you're virtual, put it in a chat, drop a fire emoji every time you make a sale. I want to see it. Like those are little things that you can do for culture.
Yeah, we had a sales gong in the office. Like anytime you sold anything, bam, baby, we celebrate. Boosh. Yeah, let's go.
We actually, Jeff, we just upgraded our gong. And this thing is
it's a pretty big deal for the company, huh?
Oh my gosh! You should see this.
You should see this thing. It's like
see it.
A 3 foot by 3 foot gong.
It's
like
not behind you right now. I take it.
No, I went. Actually, you know what? We need to bring it up here. This thing is huge.
She's
it's
big.
from Thailand.
She's from Thailand. She's awesome.
And it's like dong. Like whoa!
Thailand. Like you went real with it.
It's real. It's
legit. Yeah, it's legit.
It's so legit. So that's the.
Anyways.
Yeah.
The little things are the big things.
Two things I want to highlight here, and it just, you can see it in your guys' face how like happy you are with your company culture at this point, and what you guys have with your agency. I talked to a lot of agents that it doesn't even have to be older agents; it can be any age. But when they got into the business, even myself, like 9 years ago, I got in the industry. Company culture was not nearly as important, and so I think the mindset we're getting a little bit annoyed. Agencies are where it's like just roll your sleeves up and get to work, right? They'll get to work if you have a fun company culture. And company culture sells your recruiting processes to others. So I tell my agents, like, invest in nice clothes, not your cheap, $15 T-shirts. Let's ball out a little bit. A nice brand, put that company logo on, and now all your employees want to wear it and they want to rep it. And they're proud of it. It feels good. And now what is that selling, right? That's selling your brand, baby. And that's what we want to do. So company culture, again, I get it. For someone who, when you got into the line of work, it wasn't like that. It was just like, here's your dialer, make 200 calls. Let me know how you did at the end of the day.
Yep.
It's different now, right? And then to your point, Weaver, you nailed it talking about, I know it was a little bit ago, but talking about, the hierarchy and people running their own agencies and they implement their own mentorship programs. Think about candidates. I know sometimes we even get annoyed at this, that candidates want to be the CEO, younger people want to be the CEO right away. Well, let them. Let them find a way in a mentorship program. Find out what they want to do in 5 years, 10 years, maybe even a few years. If it's mutually beneficial, which it probably still would be, right? I think you take someone in who want to work for you for 2 years, produce at a high level, you train them, and they leave. Maybe not, but I would say most agencies would be. So we really want to tie in their personal goals, what they want to do, and then how great is insurance, right? Like all you got to do is get a PNC. You don't need all this credibility and a ton of money to start an agency, right? And be a CEO. So great point.
You just said something really powerful that I don't want to skip over is figuring out their personal goals, their personal why, and tying it back to the business's goals. That's the only way that I believe you're going to get someone truly bought into your business, to the business goals, the professional goals, is if you figure out what's important to them, what their personal goals are. Like we always did a vision board every single year with our team that we visited every quarter. And it was like, okay, what's your goal? Your 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, maybe even 10-year goal. But more importantly, how can we help you accomplish your 1 year goal and make sure that you're on pace for your 3 year goal by aligning our professional goals to your personal goals. And so I truly believe that you have to understand that individual's personal goals and whys, because that's why they come to work every single day. Like that's why they do what they do every single day. So how can you help them flourish both personally and professionally?
It's a good point. And sometimes they're not going to tell you in the beginning of these interviews, right? And sometimes they just want to tell you what they think you want to hear. Mm-hmm. So building and fostering that relationship is so important. Something I'll bring up too is passive candidates are a huge portion of the job market. So these are candidates that already have a position at an agency or a company, right? But they're on the job boards. They're looking. Why? Because they always want to upgrade, right? I mean, even if they are loyal to the company, they have their resume on Indeed because everyone has the ad on Indeed, right? Or sorry, a resume on Indeed. I would say every agency needs to have an ad on Indeed, but that's another topic. But by reaching out to them and fostering a strong relationship, you can fill positions faster. Now, it's going to take some time, just like if you're selling an insurance policy. Think about your biggest sale ever in insurance. It probably wasn't overnight. It took some time, right? We're talking that huge commercial policy, whatever it is. It took some time. So the more relationships we build with candidates, the better we're going to be in the long run. So my advice is if you treat your candidates like you would your customers and prospects, because let's be honest, almost every customer of yours, if they're spending money with you, you're going to treat like gold. Most of them. So why aren't we treating candidates like that? Because that candidate, even if it doesn't work out right now, that quality candidate is going to think of you, if they respect and like you, right when they're searching for the new position down the road. 100%.
Oh my gosh, I love that you just said that. And it brings me to my next point, because a lot of times we're talking about marketing spend. How much are you spending on internet leads? How much are you spending on your marketing? What's your budget for that? I'm curious, the top agents that you are seeing, what percentage of their budget would you guess are they spending on recruiting?
It's so like night and day difference. The ones that spend money, obviously with Ideal Traits, I would say we're pretty affordable. But then also on other areas of recruiting, like sponsoring their ads and then investing in their people on the onboarding, investing in things like, Weaver Academy, of course, because that's still a part of your recruiting in a way, like the onboarding process. So,
well, heck yeah, you hire them, we get them trained, baby. Let's go.
Work, baby. So the more things they invest in, and I'm not saying go, use your company card, right, become an agent and just ball out right away. I mean, you got to be strategic, but the ones that invest in the things that they know are working well for other agents, the ones that are investing and spending money in the beginning and grow are the ones that are going to be better off in their recruiting, 100%. Because now you have more things that you can fuel the candidates to and convert them from candidates to high-level employees for your office. So the more you invest in, I don't know, it could be obviously your company culture, but also like the systems that you have in place. That's going to go a long way. So you nailed it, Courtney. I mean, there is an overnight difference. I wish we had a percentage on it because it would be high if we could find a way to get that statistic.
So speaking of Ideal Traits, what does Ideal Traits do for agents?
I thought you'd never ask. No. So that's a great question. So Ideal Traits, the reason we have partnerships with all these brands like Farmers, like Allstate, like Safeco, we're making a huge impact in the insurance industry, is because we have a proven system that works well. So it can be hands-on or hands-off. But basically, if you log into our platform, you'll have access to where you can create an ad in seconds through AI, through our proven templates that work well. Now, it goes out to multiple job boards. So we're like a wholesaler. So if Weaver was deciding, okay, well, why don't I just post an ad directly to Indeed? Why would I go through Ideal Traits? That's a good question to ask, right? Well, through Ideal Traits, not only are we going to give you the support probably to create a better ad that's going to hit the algorithms, that's going to be mobile friendly, search engine optimized. Indeed loves us for that. Our partnership with Indeed.com is a platinum partner. Now, that's a fancy term for saying you're probably going to get more exposure going through us because we have such a good relationship with Indeed versus you posting directly to Indeed. And then we also go out to ZipRecruiter and these other job boards. So just think of this. If you are an agent that used Indeed or ZipRecruiter and you said, they suck, right? I get referrals are probably better than posting on the job boards, but I don't know how you can grow and hire good people without being on the job boards. I really don't. I mean, everyone's got it on their phones, the app, if they're looking. Passive candidates or candidates that are aggressively looking. So you always want to have an ad out there. You can do that through Ideal Traits. And then we have pre-screening assessments, pre-screening scores, and pre-screening video tools where you can see them. You can find out if you're looking for someone licensed. You can find out if they're licensed right away. You can find out what personality fits the role. So like Courtney and Michael, it's actually interesting. I don't know if you guys would come back with opposite personalities. Maybe you would. But typically the business owners that are husband and wives, they take it and they come back with opposite. So I'm actually curious. You guys should take it. But I'm sure
we're both Enneagram 3s.
Yeah, we're both generators.
Very similar.
Like there's so many things that are like exactly the same, but how we action things are different.
Right. Okay. So you're high on, like, if it was a DISC assessment, you'd be high on the D where the motivation's high. Mm-hmm. But then maybe Michael has higher in the I, but then you have higher in the C or S. Like, who's more organized?
He is.
He is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Like,
yeah, man.
Oh, man. Like this weekend when we were in Kentucky, I should have taken a video because this is how it always goes. But if you look at my suitcase versus his suitcase, mine looks like the atomic bomb just went off.
The wild west with you. You got stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Like, yeah, I'm controlled chaos constantly. And he's
Mine's perfectly folded, ready to go. Like,
he has
let's
a process.
do
this. There's a system for everything. It's with everything that he does. He's very process oriented. So, yeah, he's going to be more organized.
So funny. It's just like me and my business partner when we travel. Like, it's like he can't even look at my suitcase, right? But then I'm like, why are you spending so much time doing all this? Like, let's go.
I know. Let's roll, dude. Like, let's just go. Like, I can pop up and go. And he's like, no, I have to have it.
100%.
So I would love to do that. We haven't done that. I think even when we did the 16 personalities, I think you and I are in like the same wheelhouse.
We are. We're 16personalities.com. We have the same. We are very similar. It's but we're different. So it works. It works well. Jeff, I want to ask you just a quick question with Ideal Traits. So you guys, not only are you helping them with ads to attract, but you've also got the checkpoints in place to, like, hey, here's the sales assessment, submit the video. So you're helping put up hurdles before they even interview with an agent and kind of give that agent more information on the upfront interview. Is that fair?
You got it, right? And so this actually leads to another point of what makes a difference of an agency that's able to find staff and hire them quickly, that's quality, versus an agency that struggles. And it has to do with automation and screening, for sure. I mean, think about the top agencies out there. Are they having automated processes with sales, their sales funnel? I don't know one agent that does it now. I mean, they have to take the workload in. So that's what we do here at Ideal Traits, too. We have workflows in place. So when a candidate applies, let's just say, Courtney, hey, you're back on the job market, right? You're like, I'm out, Mike. You're on the job market. I know it's tough to visualize, but let's say you were. You apply to an ad, you get a text message and an email right away the agency would be thanking you for applying. And then the next step is you take an assessment. Now, if you get a certain score on the assessment, then you get, let's just say, a video interview where you record yourself and send it back to the agent. Or you get a calendar link to set up the phone screen or face-to-face. So the agent could be asleep, literally asleep, and the interview's scheduled tomorrow. 100%. So and not only is the interview scheduled, but also it's, that the candidate is who you're looking for. So speed to candidate is super important. I know it's just like internet leads, right? When you're calling them, you probably should get on it right away. Candidates, when they apply, if you're aggressively hiring, you should call right away. And that's why having workflows in place is going to help you so much, because I don't think any agency owner has the time or wants to call a candidate when they have a quote sitting at their desk or having a fire to put out, right? You just don't think of calling that candidate, but you need to. In text.
I think this is so good, because there's, again, to the point of like, what's the percentage? Because there's so much emphasis on marketing, and that's very top of the funnel, but that is how you're growing and scaling your business. So if it's not your expertise, and we're big believers in this, if this is not the thing that you want to be doing, do whatever you can to hire that out to a professional, because this is what they do all day long. Right. It's not like you're just going to your primary care physician. You're going to a specific heart surgeon, and you're like, this is the problem that I have. If your problem is people, then you need to go to somebody that specializes in people. If your problem is training, go to people that specialize in training. Or if it's marketing, or if it's like, that's us. Yeah, for sure. We have Sales Academy. It's Ideal Traits. Like we got, this is why it's created though, is because so many times the insurance agent gets bogged down with all of these things that are not their specialty. Like an insurance agent's specialty selling insurance.
Yep.
Like that's the thing. And then just spot check and go through and be like, what does this call sound like? What does my culture look like? Where am I spending my money? What's my profitability look like? Like that's what we're all trying to gear towards. But there is an investment. Either you're going to invest your own time, money, and energy, or you're going to invest in somebody else that's already has that thing.
I was just going to say, you can either view it as a cost, which I think all small business owners, all agency owners, when they get into this, kind of start, because you have so much money going out that it feels like a cost.
Yeah.
But when you can make the mindset shift of this is actually an investment, that's when things change. Like I'm no longer going to do I'm going to invest with experts that this is what they do all day long, every single day, to help me move my business forward, help me find better people, help my people get trained in producing. When you start looking at an investment versus a cost, that's when things change for us.
I mean, I just get so fired up about this, because I think, like in every aspect of our business, I'm always taking the dollar amount and I say, okay, this is the X amount that we have. What do we want to invest with this? Do we want to hire a person? Do we want to hire coaches for us? Do we want to hire another program? Do we want to put more money in ad spend? Like, start looking at it like that. Like, I have this much money. What's the best use of this money in my agency? Jeff, I'm curious, before we wrap up, what's one action step that somebody that's listening or watching right now could do based on all of this information that we've talked about today?
You know what? I like to first take what you have with your agency. We talked about employee value proposition. I think some agencies are pretty, I'm not saying business owners are humble, right? Typically we're not like overly humble, but maybe they don't want to share what's so awesome about their agency. So what I want them to do is ask their existing employees, ones that have been with them for at least 3 months now. Some of them, have been with them for years. What do you like working about, or like that my agency has? Why do you like working for me? And they're going to give you reasons. They're going to give you X, Y, Z. Now you write that down and you incorporate that into your employee value proposition. Then you contact Ideal Traits, right? We're going to give you a job market report on what's going on in your area, how you compete with others, and we're going to set up that process for you to make sure we're casting a wide net to look at a lot of different candidates out there. But it's a numbers game, Courtney, as you know, as you know, Mike, is we got to make sure that as people apply, we have a filtering system, and we don't have to do it 24/7. You talk about, you get fired up. I get fired up when I'm talking to an agent, and they had him or her staff call all these candidates, right, that weren't a good fit, and you could have just had a vetting process right there, right? So I'm like, right? I'm like, seriously, like I step inside their shoes, and it's like a bullet to my chest, right? So like Courtney said, really start understanding where you're spending your money, where you're spending all your time. Outsource those things and ask your staff why they like working for you, what makes you guys unique in your area, and just capitalize on it. Full throttle, start looking for people, because as you look for people, I think you guys are on the same page as me, always be hiring. I say, even if an agent doesn't always want to be hiring, right? I'm not going to stand here and try to convince for hours, right? I mean, me and you have so many reasons why, but let's just say they don't want to always be hiring. I say always be recruiting. So I say passively, because that puts an insurance policy on your people. It's too ignorant for us to think that someone, even if they've been with you for 10 years, can just get up and leave at any moment, because it happens, right? And so if we have an insurance policy on our people, and this could just be like 1 to 3 interviews a month versus having 10 interviews a month when you're aggressively hiring. But the other benefits are, I hear this from agents all the time, having my ads out there shows that in my community I'm growing, right? I'm making an impact. It also shows my brand recognition. They have people reach out, candidates that are now prospects. Well, the reason I called you is because I saw your ad on Indeed. I actually need a quote right now. What? Not that that's the main reason you did that, but now, I mean, we're insurance. We can sell to most people, right? So there's just so many reasons why we want to be passively hiring and always be recruiting.
Love that.
I agree, Jeff. Jeff, this has been awesome. If somebody wanted to reach out with you, connect with you, work with you, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's super easy. You can text me or email me, jeff@idealtraits.com. I'm going to send you my email and calendar link. I'm someone who, again, is extremely passionate about this. I would love to find out what your pain points are with hiring and how we can get you to the next level. And I'm even here, if it doesn't work out, to give you free advice, right? I want to create a relationship and see if it's a good fit. So, yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today, brother. This is I've got a freaking page full of notes. For all of those of you who are tuning in right now, whether it's on the podcast or YouTube, thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you. As always, time and attention are by far our most important assets. We appreciate you spending time with us today. Go out, make it great. Jeff, thanks again.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.